Hey guys, Desolate Magic here. We're going to burn through the rest of the rares today in the last spoiler video for the Lord of the Rings main set, but it looks like a whole bunch of other cards were leaked and then the box toppers were revealed as well. So there'll probably be two separate videos if I can get them done, but first up it's Elven Chorus. Well, let me just say, I don't have an exact count, but this set must have about 4,000 rares in it. I really didn't think there was this many, but alright, so this is a 4-cost green enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. Love that effect. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library, and creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Historically, a very broken ability. At least we don't have to deal with that in Standard. Next up, the Watcher of the Water. What the heck is this? Well, I guess the answer is one of the 50 mythics in the set. It's a 5-cost blue kraken, legendary creature, of course, 9/9. And when it enters the battlefield, it enters tapped with 9 stun counters on it. Not a morning person, I guess. And whenever you draw a card during an opponent's turn, create a 1/1 blue tentacle creature token, and whenever a tentacle you control dies, untap up to 1 target kraken and put a stun counter on top of 1 non-land permanent. So if a tentacle dies, it untaps and it basically gets 1 free attack. Otherwise, 9 turns later, it's a free-for-all. Kinda interesting, kind of exploitable. Next up, everybody's favorite card, Anduril, Flame of the West. First up, it's not a magical glowing sword from Final Fantasy, and secondly, he's not black. Don't know if you noticed that or not. So it's a 3-drop legendary artifact equipment, mythic, and equipped creature gets +3/+1. Whenever equipped creature attacks, create 2 tapped 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying, which is not what the sword does. And if that creature is legendary, instead create 2 of those tokens that are tapped and attacking, equipped 2. So it's now a magical spirit generator, apparently. They just screwed up everything across the board, didn't they? So next up, Horn of the Mark. It's a 2-cost legendary artifact, and whenever 2 or more creatures you control attack a player, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Nice. And put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Well, that's an auto-include in every single tribal deck, but I'm assuming that's what they were going for. Next up, Spiteful Banditry. It's 2 red +X, another mythic, and it's an enchantment. Oh boy. When it enters the battlefield, it deals X damage to each creature, and then whenever 1 or more creatures your opponent's control die, you create a treasure token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Despite that, pumping the brakes on the end there, this is a pretty darn powerful card. Next up, the Battle of Bywater. It's a 3-cost double white sorcery. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, then create a food token for each creature you control. Well, that is totally nuts, and I love it. I don't like unreliable cards, especially in Commander, when you could probably just pay 1 more. Next up, Sharky, Tyrant of the Shire. There's a lot more going on in the Shire than in the movies. Holy cow. So it's a blue-black 4-cost 2/4 legendary creature, Avatar Rogue, because everything's an avatar for some reason, despite, not being an avatar. So activated abilities with lands your opponent's control can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. And then Sharky has all activated abilities of lands your opponent's control except mana abilities. So anti-man land much, and then mana of any type can be spent to activate Sharky's abilities. I don't know why you'd want to turn a 2/4 into a man land, but this is awfully specific and narrow. Very strange. Next up, Saradoc, Master of Buckland. It's a 4-cost 2/4 legendary creature, halfling citizen. One of the famously dark-skinned hobbits in the Shire, obviously. And when he or another non-token creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, create a 1/1 white halfling creature token. So apparently he's into cloning. Oh, and based on the artwork, tabletop gaming. All right. And I'm pretty sure those units that he's using are Baby Yoda with a shield. A lot to take in there. But tap 2 other untapped halflings you control, and he gets +2/+0 and gains lifelink until end of turn. Still really not a very good card. Next up, 4-cost green, Eleanor Gardner, legendary creature halfling scout, 2/4, and when Eleanor enters the battlefield, create a food token. At the beginning of your end step, if you sacrificed a food this turn, you may search your library for a basic land card, put the card onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. That is actually, pretty decent for a landfall deck. Next up, Assault on Osgiliath. Boy, these names. Triple red +X, amass orcs X, whatever. Then goblins and orcs you control gain double strike and haste until end of turn. Ooh, a 1-card win where you could just triple drop it and just X0. Wow. That's what goblins needed. Next up is a 6-cost black ring wraiths creature, Wraith Knight. When Ring Wraith centers the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 till end of turn. If that creature is legendary, its controller loses 3 life. And then when when the ring tempts you, not this card, return Ring Wraiths from your graveyard to your hand. Once again, kind of weak for 6. I can see how they left these for the end here, because they're pretty underwhelming rares. I will say I'm not going to cover the commons because they're just like whatever, but wow, is there a lot of them where they're like, hey, Essence Scatter, but we put Ring Temps You on it. Hey, Kill Spell, but we put Ring Temps You on it. When the ring really isn't even that powerful of an overall thing. I mean, it's alright, but it's nothing too special. So anyway, Elvish Mariner, it's a 3-cost blue creature elf pilot, because that's what you call someone who drives a boat. 3/2, and when it attacks Scry 1, whenever you use Scry, tap up to X target non-land permanents, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this way. Ooh, that's whenever you scry from any source. Now you're just getting them out of the way. This would be completely overpowered if they were tapped for 1 extra turn, aka 1 stun counter, which is like the new way to do it. But still, it's pretty good. Next up, a 2-cost blue 1/3 legendary creature, Nymph. It's of course Goldberry River Daughter, and you can tap her and move a counter of each kind not on her from another target permanent you control onto her. And then if you pay 1 blue and tap her, move 1 or more counters from her to something else. If you do, draw a card. So that's actually like a really good utility card. I don't think it's, commander grade, but who knows? You do you. Let me just say, is this not the most lefty thing you've seen? A ridiculously over-the-top outfit, a really good-looking face and hair, which is impossible on a body like that of an absolute land whale / hippo hybrid. Hashtag healthy at any size. Hashtag get your head examined because that's bullshit. Guys, every like on this video will help the nymphs in their obesity crisis. Hashtag heart disease and dead at 40. Next up, another Smeagol card for some reason. It's Smeagol Helpful Guide. 3-cost 4/2 legendary creature Halfling Horror. Hey, finally an accurate title. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, under your control, the ring tempts you, and then whenever the ring tempts you, target opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped under your control, and the rest into their graveyard. That's actually like a pretty decent card. I feel like you could definitely get landfall going, but only if you're also running a ring tempts you deck, so I don't know. Next up, Galadriel of Lothlorien. Why is she a giant 12-foot tall ghost? Well, anyway, 3-cost green-blue legendary creature elf noble, and whenever the ring tempts you, if you choose a creature other than Galadriel of Lothlorien, or wherever she is, as your ring bearer, scry 3. I would not recommend giving her the ring, just historically. Whenever you scry, you may reveal the top card of your library. If a land card is revealed this way, put it onto the battlefield tapped. Oh, good, another landfall ramp deck. Oh, wait, you'd have to be running a ring tempts you thing. Oh, okay, then. Next, Dawn of a New Age, a 2-cost white enchantment mythic. This gonna be good. Dawn of a New Age enters the battlefield with a hope counter on it. For each creature you control at the beginning of your end step, remove a hope counter from it. If you do, draw a card. Then if Dawn of New Age has no hope counters on it, sacrifice it and gain 4 life. I mean, I've seen better cards recently, but this is still highly effective. We all remember the absolute nightmare that was standard with the enchantment that said every time you gain life, pay 1 or 2 mana, I don't remember which, and draw a card. Yeah, that thing was a little much. This one's a little more direct. I gotta say, it's not bad. Next up, Flame of Enor. I don't know, this picture looks like crap. So it's an is-it colored nightmare, I'm sure. I'm sure it's totally not spell cloning or storm. They totally never do that. Instant, choose 1 if you control a wizard. As you cast the spell, you may choose 2 instead. Target player draws 2 cards, destroy target artifact, or it deals 5 damage to target creature. Holy crap, they printed an is-it card without it being a nightmare. Next up, 2-cost blue enchantment, Lost Isle Calling, aka pack it up, we're boating out of here. Whenever you scry, put a verse counter on Lost Isle Calling, and then if you pay a ridiculous 6, exile it, and then draw a card for each verse counter on it. If it had 7 or more, take an extra turn after this one. Activate only at sorcery speed, otherwise that would just be too rude. Yeah, it's a slow build-up card. It's kind of interesting, kind of fun for Commander. I don't think it's the most, competitive thing compared to, like, Fate Foretold or whatever. But it's still pretty decent, I guess, if you really wanted to refill your hand for some reason. Next up, the Balrog, Durin's Bane. Ooh, these picture qualities are getting even better. So it's a 7-cost black-red legendary creature avatar, is that demon? I don't know, looks like too many letters, but okay. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent sacrificed this turn, and it has haste 7/5. And it can't be blocked except by legendary creatures. That's annoying. And when the Balrog dies, destroy target artifact or creature an opponent controls. Well, that is just a big bundle of annoyingness. Hey, speaking of that thing I just said, Aragorn, company leader. Yeah, they should make him the new CEO of Hasbro. He probably couldn't do worse. Wait, is Steve Ballmer still alive? Anyway, this is a 3-cost green-white 3/3 legendary creature, human ranger, and whenever the ring tempts you, if you chose a creature other than Aragorn, company leader as your ring bearer, put your choice of a counter from among First Strike, Vigilance, Death Touch, and Lifelink on Aragorn. Whenever you put one or more counters on Aragorn, put up to one of each of those kinds of counters on up to one other target creature. This is pretty good. It still reeks of alchemy, but it's pretty good. Next up, Elrond, Master of Scientology. Oops, I misread that. Healing. And it's a 4-cost green-blue 4/4 legendary creature, Elf Noble, and whenever you scry, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to X target creatures, where X is the number of cards looked at while scrying this way. Now that's powerful in a hardened scale deck. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. There are a lot of different on-color cards that are redundant with that, and the same with like counter dump mechanics. Oh, you could make a deck out of this. This is the first one where I look at it and think, you could actually get a pretty high-powered commander deck going with this. Next up, Fall of Care Andros. I don't know where or what that is, but anyway, it's a 3-cost red enchantment, and whenever a creature an opponent controls is dealt in excess non-combat damage, amass Orcs X, where X is the excess damage. That is a lot, potentially. Then if you pay 8, it deals 7 damage to target creature. You don't even sack it, it just does that. This is kind of neat, but the whole amass Orcs thing, amass never worked the last time around. There was one kind of annoying deck, but it kind of ran things outside of amass, so I don't know, I'm not really feeling it. But next up, we got Rangers of Ithilien, I believe that says. Kind of blurry, thanks for that, Watsy, or whoever leaked this, or I don't know what's going on. So it's a 4-cost double blue 3/3 creature, human ranger with vigilance, and when it enters the battlefield, gain control of up to one target creature with lesser power for as long as you control rangers of I don't care. Then the ring tempts you. It's a little limited for 4. That's pretty weak. Next up, Mithril Coat, which is not what it was. It was a chain shirt. But anyway, 3-cost legendary artifact equipment, of course. Flash Indestructible. Now that is the equipment itself, but it does say equipped creature has indestructible, equip 3, and then the middle part is when Mithril Coat enters the battlefield, attach it to target legendary creature you control. Like, for example, your commander. Now this is really, really good. In the right deck, it's exceptionally good, but just on its face, this is really good. Next up, Grey Haven's Navigator, spelled the British way for some reason. I guess wasn't Tolkien British, but anyway. It's a 3-cost 3/2 in blue, creature elf pilot with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, scry 1. Just boost that scry mechanic. Next up, Sauron's Ransom. It's blue-black instant 3-cost, choose an opponent. They look at the top 4 cards of their library, or your library, pardon me, and separate them into a face-down pile and a face-up pile. Oh, goody. Fact or fiction effect, or as I like to call it, a little more up-to-date, Sphinx effect. So put one pile in your hand and the other into your graveyard, so you're either gambling on the one you can see or the one that's face down, and people love to bluff. And then the ring tempts you. Honestly, 4 cards, 3 mana, this isn't bad. Instant speed, do it during their end step. Yeah, this is like really decent, but also kind of fun. You know, and you want to go for fun, interesting, wacky cards in Commander, usually. Next up, Scroll of Isildur. It's a 3-cost rare enchantment saga in blue. Chapter 1 is gain control of up to one target artifact for as long as you control this card, and then the ring tempts you. Tap up to 2 target creatures, put a stun counter on each of them, yikes, and then 3, draw a card for each tapped creature that a target opponent controls. And remember, it's not even necessarily the ones from before, it definitely is, but it's also anybody who attacked you. This would go well in a, I don't know, white-blue do not attack me deck, for example. Huh, I wonder who could be running that. Next up, Glamdring. I have no idea what that is. So it's a 2-cost legendary artifact equipment. Mythic, hello, full colorless, they better not have gone too far with this. Equipped creature has first strike and gets +1/+0 for each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard. Okay. It's kind of begging for degeneracy, but fine. And then whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to the damage without paying its mana cost. Equip 3. That, I gotta say, that is like actually kind of interesting. You still have to get through, you still have to hit them, and my gosh, if you put this on a double striker, and it still has to be in your hand, you still have to have one, but like, yeah, in a spell heavy deck, this would be pretty interesting. But then it's not a creature heavy deck, so how would you get through? I don't know, unblockable flying, it seems really good, but it's like, how would you really pull it off? And the fact is, it does nothing unless you hit them. Well, except for the giant attack spike, but that's fine. Hey, speaking of cool swords, Sting the Glinting Dagger. It's a legendary artifact equipment, obviously glows blue when orcs are around, and it can be equipped by the Hobbitses class. Filthy Hobbitses. So, equipped creature gets +1/+1 as haste at the beginning of each combat. Untap equipped creature. The equipped creature has first strike as long as it's blocking or blocked by a goblin or orc, and then equip 2. I mean, that's just a nice utility card. I don't think it's anything too special. And I thought there was a dozen more, but it turns out those were from the Commander set, and a whole bunch of those leaked. So I'll be covering those sometime, but I do have to go out and process 1 billion pounds of firewood. Yes, we finally got the majority of my tree down, thank God. The thing was a menace. My left arm is unfortunately pretty torn up now, but nothing I can't heal from. No broken or fractured bones this time. Yes, I threw in fractured. Yes, I said this time. And we, by a couple inches, didn't completely obliterate my neighbor's shed. We're just not going to talk about my shed. That thing was a hazard, and I had 2 different companies look at it for the free quote, and they're like, we're not touching it. So naturally, me and my friend and a sketchy ladder and some other crap I borrowed and the world's cheapest chainsaw went at it, and I came out victorious. And I tell this story because apparently when I did the face reveal, multiple people and then an absolute deluge of replies said that you all pictured me for some reason / no apparent reason as a big, burly, brown-haired, specifically, lumberjack. I don't know what would have led you to believe that I'm a lumberjack. I don't know if you meant I look like one or I literally cut down trees. But then I remember where I grew up and, yeah, you're not that far off. Look, I could light a fire or take down a tree blindfolded. This was a special case because there was literally nowhere to drop this. So apparently I'm living up to the lumberjack meme, but sorry to disappoint you. I have glorious blonde hair. So hey, go watch the 50K special if you want to know what I look like. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time.